Hello everyone, and thank you for taking the time to review the Santa Clara County real estate market analysis for February 2009. My name is Robert Whitelaw. I'm a licensed real estate broker in the state of California. I'm also a member of the National Association of Realtors and a certified E-Pro. I'm also the president and CEO of Whitelaw & Sons Real Estate Services, serving all of Silicon Valley. Now, if you'd like to find out how to get in contact with me or see any of my other presentations, you can find those at www.soldbyrobert.com. If you'd like to get in touch with me via email, feel free to message me at robert@soldbyrobert.com. If you prefer to get in touch via telephone, feel free to call 408-852-0525. And if you're more interested in talking online with any of the available chat software, you can use AOL Instant Messenger, Google Talk, or Yahoo IM. And my screen name on those is The Rebel Broker. And if you're a Skype user, Rebel Broker is my screen name. And referrals are always appreciated. Or if you or anyone you know is interested in buying or selling or investing in real estate in Silicon Valley, please feel free to get in touch with me. And finally, even if you're not interested in real estate in Silicon Valley, I can go through the process of finding the agent perfect for your needs. So no matter what you want or what you need out of real estate, get in touch with me, and I can find the exact agent for you wherever you are in the United States. Now let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the supply and demand numbers for Silicon Valley. We've got three bars here that indicate the total number of homes sold, the total number of homes listed, and then the total number of homes in the inventory. Let's go ahead and look at sales first. Now, if we compare 2008 to 2009, we can see we actually have an increase in sales. This is excellent news. Now, it's excellent compared to last year, and it's definitely better compared to past months. But as you can see from previous years, we're still very low down at the bottom, but at least we're not setting 10-year records as far as low numbers are concerned. Sales are actually up by 37.03% in Santa Clara County. That's an increase of 157 homes. So from February of 2008 to February of 2009, we're seeing 157 more homes sold. That gives us a grand total of 581 homes sold in Santa Clara County. And frankly, that's excellent news. It's a good trend to see. And remember, these are all just for the month of February. So we don't have to worry about making any seasonal adjustments. Anything that would affect a February today would have affected a February several years ago. The only difference is just what our specific market is doing right now. So this is actually pretty encouraging news. Now, the next number to look at is the number of homes that were listed. And that was actually down 9.49% from the same time last year. That boils down to us listing 176 fewer homes in the month of February in 2009 than in the same month in 2008. That's basically the number of sellers that put their home on the market in the month of February. The fact that this number is going down this month is also excellent, and also interesting because, remember, these are all just the month of February, but it's encouraging because we're not seeing a lot of people jumping into the market, which is what we would see happening this time of year. And some folks might be seeing more of an opportunity to try and get their homes sold now, anticipating worse things ahead. So what does that tell us in the context of just year-to-year comparisons? Well, it tells us that folks aren't going crazy to list their homes now compared to past years. There are a number of other years that we saw much higher levels of folks listing their homes. 2003, for instance, is an example. So I think it's good that we're not seeing a big rush to sell, because that indicates that a lot of folks are A, recognizing this isn't a great time to sell, and B, don't anticipate things are going to get much worse from here, because normally the first little bits of listing that you tend to see for the summer season kind of peek their head out in February, but the coming months will be much more telling in this. There was a total of 1,679 homes listed in the month of February. Now, inventory numbers, this is more good news. We actually saw a small decrease. Now, it's not a huge decrease, and given the number of homes in the marketplace here in Santa Clara County, it's not a substantial number, but any number that's in the right direction is a good number. We actually had inventory down 0.61% in the month of February when compared to the same month last year. That's 31 fewer homes on the market than we had at the same time last year, for a grand total of 5,037 homes currently on the market. So while it's not a huge jump in the direction we'd want it to go, it's at least a trend in that direction, or at least a small move in that direction. Now, if we look at the total inventory on hand, and that's basically where we look at the total number of homes in the inventory, and we assume that the number of homes that are getting sold were to freeze it is right now. If that were to happen, how many months would it take us to sell every single home currently in the inventory? And what we saw in February was that number stood at 8.67. So as it stands right now, it would take us a little over 8.5 months to sell every single home currently on the market if the sold homes per month number stayed as it is right now. Now, another way of thinking about this number is sort of a competition number. If you're a seller, that's how many homes are really competing with you for the attention of buyers. So for every home that's sold, there were about 8.5 homes on the market trying to get sold. Now, the good news, this number is down in the long look back. In the short term, just compared to last month, it's actually up, but it's not up substantially. Last month, it was at 8.4. So for all intents and purposes, it's really about the same number. And I would argue that that's actually a fairly encouraging situation to find ourselves in Santa Clara County right now. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the supply and demand numbers. Now these are the same numbers, but going back just months. So seasonal influences will affect these numbers. I've also put some trend lines in there to give you an idea of what the general direction of these numbers is. Now, as you can see, sales are actually generally trending up going back to October. You can see that we have February is all the way over to the right here, and unfortunately I left that as untitled, but that's the numbers for February. We can see that those were actually up 1.93%. That's 11 more homes sold in the month of February of 2009 than in January of 2009. So that's good news. The number of listings was up 5.4%. So last month we listed 5.4% fewer homes. 86 more homes listed this month than last month, the month of February. Inventory is up 5.09%. That's 244 more homes in the inventory in February than in January. So in general, what are we seeing? Well, inventory over the course of the year is trending up. When we look at the number of homes added to the market, that is mildly trending down, and sales are trending up. So a bit of a mixed bag when compared to just the overall months going back. But is there anything else we can get out of this? Where would we expect things to move from here? Well, if we look back to February of last year, we can see that there was a sales increase from January to February that was percentage-wise a little bit of a bigger change, a little bit bigger boost last year than this year. I'm not sure I would take that as a profound negative, because overall sales numbers are up now. So the fact that they're just sort of sustaining themselves at this level, I think, is actually a pretty good indicator. Now, what's particularly interesting is from February to March and on into April and May and June, from here on out, we should see nothing but increasing sales in homes. Now, I'm hoping that's going to be the case. We have a different kind of marketplace now than we did last year. Many more of our homes that are in the market right now are made up of foreclosure and short sale homes. We'll see what kind of an effect that has on the market sales in general. But if last year's numbers are any indicator, last year's trends are any indicator, from here on out, we should see sales increasing from this point. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that that actually is what happens. Now, as far as listings are concerned, this is, in just about any market, this is a normal time for more listings to be entering the marketplace. We're heading into the time period when folks are going to put their homes on the market, anticipating that the summer season is going to be the best time to get sold. So if we look back again to last year, we can see that from February all the way up until April, we saw increasing number of homes being listed. It wouldn't surprise me if we see that number also increase, but I don't think we'll see it increase as much as we have in previous years. And here's why I'm thinking that. First of all, I don't think a lot of folks want to sell their home if they can help it in the current market. I don't think that, and since foreclosures and short sales don't tend to be seasonal, I don't think that we're going to see in those later months a much larger number of homes going into foreclosure. Now, while I say that, we also have to remember that there were some artificial delays put on foreclosures being added to the market in the last quarter of 2008, because a lot of lenders put a moratorium on foreclosures, in enforcing foreclosures. And my feeling was that we really wouldn't see a big jump in foreclosures until, or at least until foreclosure notifications, until after March, after that first quarter of 2009. Now, we'll see how that pans out, but because of the way foreclosures work and because of how long it can take for foreclosure processes to go through, I'm not entirely convinced that those increases in listings in the forms of foreclosures will happen during those summer months. It may take longer than that for a lot of those to get through. So we'll see how it pans out. My anticipation is that we'll see an increase in listings, but I think it'll be a little bit more mild than we saw last year. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at short sale and foreclosure numbers. And this is, again, a new chart I've put together to sort of graphically indicate how things are going, or how the makeup of the homes that are sold. Now, this whole pie that we're about to look at here represents every home that's sold. 12% of the homes that sold were short sales. 56% of the homes that sold were foreclosures, and 32% of the homes that sold were conventional home sales. So still, we're seeing the vast majority of properties out there are either short sales or foreclosures, and conventional sales are really making up a smaller portion of the market. And again, I think every portion of the market right now represents opportunities for buyers. I don't care if you're talking about short sales, foreclosures, or conventionals. All of those represent an opportunity. Now, there are challenges and limitations in the short sale and foreclosure markets. There's a lot of folks out there poking around for those absolute best deals. I still think that if you've got a decent real estate agent negotiating for you, conventional purchases can be very competitive against foreclosures and short sales, given the value you get once the escrow closes. I know that in my specific case, I've managed to work on some transactions where we were able to negotiate far lower prices on conventional homes, bring those asking prices way down, in some cases over $100,000, whereas with a short sale or foreclosure, you don't have as much negotiation room. A lot of those homes have been discounted as far as they're going to go. And the difference is, you buy a conventional home and it's going to be more or less in move-in condition. A lot of these foreclosures and short sales are very abused homes by the time they actually end up getting sold. So again, I know I've been saying this just about every presentation I've done. All of you out there who are interested in buying, do not put those blinders on and focus just on short sales and foreclosures. I think by doing that, you're missing out on some potentially amazing deals. So whoever you're working with, whatever agent you're working with, if you're just looking at short sales and foreclosures, you might want to add some conventionals in there, because I think some great deals are to be had in those segments of the market. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at home prices. What have they been doing? Well, I don't think anyone is particularly shocked at this, but man, the graphic sure does tell us how far we have dropped in average sales price. Now, the average sales price in Santa Clara County was $561,329. The highest priced home was at 14155 Donaldson Place in Los Altos Hills. It was a beautiful home, sold for $3,400,000, and it originally listed for $4,988,000. And that was on the market for 276 days. Now, an interesting thing to note about this home is that once the statistics come out and the analysts start doing their thing, they will not see $4,988,000 as what the original list price was. You'd actually have to go back and research it to see that there was a period of time there where that home was taken off of the market for 30 days, and then that sort of lost its connection to the previous asking price. Now, I've gone back and put in what the original list price was when they first started trying to sell it back in 2008, simply to illustrate how far these folks had to come down from their original asking price. And of course, we're talking about basically $1.5 million. So that's a pretty substantial drop in price, and obviously at this price range, we're out there in the upper echelons. But I think that more accurately illustrates how far people have had to come in order to get some properties sold. Now, the lowest priced home was at 918 Bellhurst Avenue in San Jose. That sold for $130,000. And actually, this is another one that did the same thing, where it was taken off of the market for a 30-day period of time that allowed it to lose connection to its original asking price. And its original asking price was $204,900, and it was on the market for 66 days. Now, the change from last year, from February of 2008 to February of 2009, well, prices have dropped, on average, 43.23% in Santa Clara County. That is a dollar drop of $427,443. Now, remember, this number is getting skewed a bit because we're seeing so many foreclosures and short sales that are the properties that are getting sold, and those tend to be the properties that really occupy the lower end in prices. So just because of the sheer volume of those types of homes, it's sort of overwhelming this number and giving us what I would consider an artificially low average price, just because of how much foreclosures and short sales are dominating the marketplace right now. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at these same numbers, but just going back to previous months. Again, the trend is pretty hard to ignore. Again, the average sales price was $561,329. What's good to note is how much the decline has slowed. Change from last month, average home price was only down 0.07%. That's only a $382 drop from January to February. So statistically insignificant that we can really call it a wash. It'll be interesting to see where we go. Now remember, we had relatively flat performance. We actually had a little bit of a decline from January to February of last year. We'll see how that pans out. We had a flattening from about December or January that stayed relatively flat until March or April, and then the decrease started to really get going in May, June, and July. What will we see this summer? Well, you know, I'm seeing a lot more buyers coming around. I'm working with several buyers. I have an escrow going on right now on a conventional property. And you know, with the amount of interest I'm seeing in various properties, I think we may actually see a more stable home price moving through 2009 without some of these dramatic drops that we've seen over the past 12 months. There are a few indicators there that tell me that we may not see the huge drops. Won't know for sure until we get into those months, and we'll know better once we get actually into April, May, and June to see how much actual sales activity there is. But people may, and a lot of folks are talking about how 2009 is the year for folks to get those lowest prices on homes. And I know a lot of folks are definitely buying into that theory, and that could contribute to a stabilizing effect on prices as we move through the summer months. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the days on market. Of course, these numbers have been increasing as well. We actually had a 23.46% increase in the total days on market from February of 2008 compared to February of 2009. That's 19 more days to get a home sold. And there are so many properties that have been out there on the market for a super long time that there's a huge range for this particular number. Even, you know, as I mentioned, one of the houses that sold this month in February was on the market for over 250 days. So there's a lot of folks out there that are staying on the market for an awfully long time. And then on the flip side, we've got some of these foreclosure homes that are selling relatively quickly, that are really giving you a wide range of average days on market. Now, if you're a seller, how do you get this to a minimum number? Well, again, it's never been more important to properly select your real estate professional. Your listing needs to be 100% complete and ready to go the day it hits the multiple listing service. I know that as a person who shops for investment properties and as someone who works with buyers just about every day, is providing them with information about homes that are for sale. If you don't have all your pictures, all your descriptions, all your marketing material right there in place from the very first hour that thing gets put on the MLS, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because there's so many listings out there to look at that if there's no pictures, there's no description, buyers are just passing them over. They're tossing them into the garbage can and moving on to the next property that's just as attractive but has all the information available for them to decide if they want to take the time to go look at it. So all you sellers out there, remember how crucial it is to pick the right agent to help you get your home sold. Now let's go ahead and take a look at days on market going back to just previous months now. We'll see if we can spot a trend here, maybe even get a little idea on where we might be headed in future months. Now, as you can see, the days on market has trended up, and it's been really mirroring the seasonal trend that we've always seen. If you go back to December, January, you can see the increase from December to January and then a decrease in February of last year. We're seeing the exact same thing now. Any reason to suspect that this is going to change or not be as it was last year? Well, the only thing that has me thinking that we might see a bump, as soon as the volume of sales increases, I think we will see a slight bump in the days on market, simply because we'll be selling more homes. We'll be taking homes off of the market that have been on for an extremely long period of time. So what I think we might see is a steady decrease and then either a flattening for a little while or maybe even a boost a month or two as we sell off more volumes of homes. And I'm fairly confident we're going to see an increase in sales volume as we head into those first months, those first selling months of April and May. And then we'll see some more, obviously, as we head into summer. But I think May and June, just like last year, are likely to be our days when the days on market are our lowest, when homes are getting sold the quickest. time will tell, but I'm pretty confident that's going to be the way it's going to play out. Now, I do appreciate you taking the time out to say on these subjects. I won't victimize you with repeating all of this stuff again as I did at the beginning of this presentation. But of course, if you'd like to discuss anything related to real estate with me, these are all the various ways to get in touch. Again, referrals are always appreciated. Thanks for taking the time, and I look forward to talking to you all next time.